This week on Chapters Over Coffee, we're diving into Brimstone, the 3 bonus chapters, as well as the prologue and chapters 1 through 5. So at the end of Quicksilver, Ceres had killed Malcolm, but was also on the brink of death herself, so Taladeus got Fisher's consent for him to turn Ceres in order to save her. This made her the queen. What is it? Is it Sansaroth? That's the area, right?
Roth.
Sanisroth. And this made her become half fae and half vampire after speaking with the god of chaos and after the transition from when Tal had turned her. So we're going to do the bonus chapters first before we start the actual, just to kind of get a little backstory. So if you have anything to add to the bonus chapters, let me know.
Okay.
We learned that Renfis had a twin named Morel. And then in part 2 of The Gate, we learned that she was actually the inspiration for the name of Fisher's godsword, Nimrel. Both parts, The Gates parts 1 and 2, were both about the the battle with Amnam Shakrai. During this battle, the Quicksilver and Fisher's Eye wanted him to use his friends as shields, but he refused. They didn't want him to die, so instead he sent his friends away to save them, but kept Danya with him until he had her go to save all the children in the city. The gate itself was made of iron that no fae could touch, only the fire sprites. Is that what it said? The fire sprites?
Mm-hmm.
We learned that there was a deal to where Amnam Shakrai would not attack the city. He was there to protect the city. But somehow Malcolm had bribed the dragon to break his oath over it, causing him to attack the city because he wanted to feast. The dragon did. At this point, Fisher nearly kills himself trying to get the door to shut to save the city until it was like the Quicksilver had fused with him at that point and really helped him, allowing him to really get the door shut. When he was ready to give up, Lorth and Rin both gave him shit to get the job done and realized that they had all slipped through the gate that he was trying to close them into. So they helped him get the gate closed, and even Danya had squeezed out of the gate to help. But everybody else in the city was now safe from how drained he was. He was now bleeding Quicksilver, now that it was essentially him. And then this goes at the end of the chapter, the bonus chapter. 1 minute he was at the Aujin Gate. The next he was somewhere else that consisted of 2 females, which are the twins, and a male, which was the god of chaos, who was actually talking to another female. But this was his 3rd time being there. And this time, the 3rd female, the god of chaos was talking to, was actually Ceres, because he was in the past, but also in the future. And he just didn't realize who it was. He tried asking who it was, but they wouldn't tell him who he was talking to. Just that it was
But he
in the
felt that
future.
pull to her.
Yes. He the smell. It was mentioned about a smell. He could smell something. But this is from what we learn at the end of the book of Quicksilver, that it was Ceres talking to the god of chaos about everything. So the twins heal him and give him the god sword at this point, who later on again he names the Morel. So going into part 2, it was known that the Lupa Prevalia had been known to have killed a dragon before. So going back to the battle, they noticed Morel was running. This confused me because she's running up the hill to this, but yet she was going down into the city. So it was is she running up to a city or is she running down to a city? Because the dragon's up at top, and that kind of confused me because it was 2 different directions. But she's running up the hill with a child in her arms trying to get to safety, and Amnam Shkrai moves and sees her, points her out, because she was on her way back to Renfis, when the dragon had actually toasted her and then split her in half and ate her. This causes Renfis to channel too much power that Fisher then had to force him to release it before he lost his soul completely. The power he released was enough to penetrate the dragon's scale. So then a little bit later, after everything is said and done, the Quicksilver had him hallucinating that Morel, this confused me too. I'm like, Morel's a feeder? I thought she like was completely burnt and gone. So like he's hallucinating that she's like every feeder that's around them talking to him like you were supposed to protect me. That hurt when I burned. But it was just the Quicksilver making him hallucinate because he had made a promise that he was supposed to keep her safe. That was his promise, and he failed that promise. And my thing isn't did I misunderstand this? Isn't the Quicksilver just the god of chaos and his daughters?
That is something I'm still not 100%
Because that's who
positive. Like,
talks to
they're
him.
obviously part of it, but I don't think it's just them.
Because
I
I'm
think
like,
we're gonna find there's more to it.
the two girls wanted to sleep with him and get with him, and he's the god of chaos's champion, but yet they're making him hallucinate and like tormenting him day in and day out. So it's like, why are they doing this when they want like other thing? Like, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. So maybe
Yeah.
there is more to it, but I thought it was there's the three of them. Maybe it's the other gods too. Like, I don't know. Fisher plans to get his revenge on the Drake. He was able to hold him down with his shadows. Om-Nam-Shakrai was the last living dragon in all of the courts. When Fisher gets almost killed inside of Om-Nam-Shakrai, the Quicksilver told him to use a sword, so he calls out Nimmerel. Finally, that it takes on to the name. And allows him to use it. And again, it was in honor of Morel. That's why he named it Nimmerel. And plot twist, Morel was in love with Fisher. But he wouldn't cross that line and take the next step with her. And in my opinion, I believe it was because he already knew from his mother that he had a mate out there. And with him and Morel so close together, that if he would have crossed that line and then finds his mate, it would have broke her once he found his mate, and because he would be with her. So I see why he didn't cross that line. Otherwise, I think if Cyrus wasn't
Yeah.
in the picture and he didn't know about his mate, I think he would have.
Yeah.
I think he would have crossed that line and not seen her the way he kept himself seeing her. At the end of that chapter, he sees her one last time. She warns him about God swords failing soon, all but his, because she had bonded herself to his sword. So she's always with him. And she also had a message, and we still don't know his name yet because we're only in the first 5 chapters of Brimstone. But his mother's message was that he needed to guard his real name because his life depended on it. The final bonus chapter, The Fox, the Boots, the Dress, I didn't have much for it because it's kind of what we already read. Just about him making Carrion bathe to get his Cyrus' scent off of him. But I want to know who or what Onyx is, and I know like we've seen some of the theories on who he might be. And
I
then
do think I do think it fits that he could be a familiar. I seen another thing. I don't know if you and I talked about this, but I seen a thing that they also think that it could be like a family member,
oh yes, I told
like
you
a
about that one. Yeah,
reincarnation thing. Yeah.
I feel like it was like a family or something.
Yeah.
And
But I think it's obviously something super special about
yeah,
him. He
well,
was
because
like
he
Luther in
stated,
the beginning. He acts like he can understand her. And then what happens in
well,
the beginning of this book?
Then we get an ACOTAR moment because the dresses that Fisher was always laying out for Cyrus for dinner were dresses that his mother kept in her closet for his meat. I thought that was
Yeah.
cute. So, and it reminded me of ACOTAR because the dresses that Feyre got were from Reese's mother. I had to think of names for a minute. I blanked.
Ah,
I've read so many like books like this, like I blank on names.
yeah.
All right, so getting actually now into Brimstone. We start with the prologue, and Fisher is hunting down a vampire that was waiting outside of Cyrus's room. He wanted Fisher to end him because he didn't like what he became, but before he died, he does tell Fisher that they were going to destroy her, meaning Cyrus, and that we kind of get a look into that with like the lords and stuff in the first 5 chapters of them trying to like bring her down pretty much. He also stated that the court would fall with her in there because it was already seen. So who is the seer? Who is the seer that has already seen this? So we got to find out who the seer is. Karen comes running in, trying to get Fisher to listen to what he has to say. So they go back and forth before he finally listens to Carrion. And when they look outside the window, there's little Onyx running for his life. Onyx, who was left in Kalish, away from everything. And Fisher knew at that point that he should not have survived that mountain the way from all the things they were saying.
And I love how Carrion played it because Fisher's like, no, stop talking. Like, what the fuck do you want? And he's like, your mate's happiness. Like, isn't that something that you want? Like, good play, dude. Good play. Shut the fuck up and listen to me, buddy.
Yep. Gets him to stop in his tracks and be like, okay. Okay.
Yup.
He should not have survived the trek over the mountain range, but Fisher kind of gave him props because he did it just to get to Cyrus. He was not about to let him die now. So they both leave.
He's special.
Oh, yeah. To do that, there's definitely something special. So they leave the palace to get Bill, and I still can't get over the fact that the horse's name is Bill. After all, you have all these different names. And then you have Bill. And then you have Simon the Sword. So, like,
Simon.
Two normal names just throws me off when you have names like Carrion and Cyrus. And we still don't know what Fisher's real name is. So, yeah.
Vizzieth. Nimmerel. Like,
Lorith, Renfis, you know. Simon. Like, you have all these different names. And then you get Bill and Simon. 2 normal names. Just throws it all off completely.
For sure, yeah.
Carrion follows behind, to which Fisher was not very happy about that either, because now he's got to deal with Carrion and make sure Carrion doesn't die. Because once they get closer to Onyx sleeps in Carrion's arms, who then falls off of Bill. So now Fisher has to get off Bill and fights the feeders. So once they make it through that first round, they get back on Bill and they go back to the palace, to which Lorith was waiting for him and gave them shit about the whole thing. And Carrion, I like how he tried to say he saved Fisher's life. So Fisher's response was the day Carrion saves him would be he'd wear a dress and do a jig. I wonder if it happens. Like, because this book that we know is like them making the journey and stuff. So I'm curious, does it ever happen? Does Carrion get to save his life? And then on the way inside, Fisher asks Lorith if he had found Foley, which, if we remember, because I didn't mention it in the bonus chapters, Foley was on one of their brothers in the Lupa Parolia, who was blown off of the cliff during the battle with Omnomscribe. And this then makes me wonder if he's going to be a big part in this book, because like they figured he's kind of hiding, because if I remember correctly, I didn't go into detail. Tao turned him because to help kind of save him from becoming a feeder. and I don't remember exactly where I read this part at. If it was in the bonus chapters or if it was in one of the first 5 chapters. Was it in one of the first? Was it one of yours?
Yes, yeah. I didn't go too much into detail.
Okay,
I
I was
just
like,
like they did bring him up, but they did give backstory that it was when they were arguing. Uh, Ren or Lorith was arguing with Fisher about how he's always defending Tal and how Tal's a
mm.
liar and everything because of what he did to Foley. So like they can't
But
trust him. He
Fisher
should.
sees the good in him because he's kind of been near Tal. He like understands
Well,
with Tal the situation, and he
yeah,
stayed
but look
fully.
at the 150 years or whatever that he was there. Tal was the one who came and talked to him. He brought him wine. Like he kept him company without like he carried out what he was
Overbearing,
supposed to, but
kind of
he
was
was his
lenient.
friend. Like he stayed his friend.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't like I think there was a I hope we find out, but I think there was a reason as to why he went with Malcolm that wasn't like a selfish thing. Like I hope that he did it hoping that he could
You're talking about
help
Tal,
the
right?
others. Yeah.
I think it was stated, and I don't. It was in one of the chapters. I think he did it for love. Now we found out that he
Zavina.
loved. I don't know if it was Savina because we did find out that he loved her, and at one point she loved him, but there is no love for him now. So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was stated that Tal kind of went, you would do it for love type thing. So I think that's what I wondered though if like, and I wonder if we get more backstory, but I wonder if like Malcolm kind of was like, made a deal with him or something. Like somebody made a deal with him or something and something happened or something.
Yeah. Well,
But if I remember, yeah, if I remember correctly, he's there for a reason, not because he wants to. There was something, and I think it had to do with love or something.
yeah.
Like he followed somebody to, I think, to help them, and it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. But he kind of saved Foley from becoming a feeder. But
Yeah.
they kind of guess that he's hiding. So if he knows like Fisher's been there, like he's gonna keep himself hidden because Carrion stated that this place is like a fortress. Like there's, it's like a maze in this palace. We did learn that some of the Fae are born with smaller magics. So Fisher was born with one. He could heal, but his small magic, he uses it all up on Onyx, but he has the one that doesn't replenish like Talonus and stuff. So once it's gone, it's gone. So this kind of surprises Saris that he would sacrifice for Onyx. But there wasn't anything he wouldn't sacrifice to make her happy because he still believes that Onyx would make a great hat. Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah. The next couple of chapters, I kind of like jump back and forth between the chapters, talking about like the lords and stuff, like, because I know it goes in depth with both chapters. So these next couple of chapters, we get a look into Saris's coronation to become queen of, is it, it's not Sansaroth. That's not, it's,
Sanisroth.
then what's the A word? Is that
Sanisroth.
the name of the palace?
Amontraeus. Amontraeus is the
Amontraeus is
name
the
of the
name of the,
fortress.
okay. So I had it backwards. I'm like, and I
Or
never
the
checked to
mountain
see if
or
I was
whatever
right.
it's
Yeah,
in.
the area. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sansaroth, she becomes, which is home of the vampires, which
Hmm.
is
And
home of
then
the vampires,
Amontraeus,
whoever called
I'm
them.
pretty sure is his castle, fortress, mountain,
Okay.
whatever.
Um, Once she's done getting ready, Carrion being Carrion, so she looks downright fuckable. Not a good thing to say to a newly godbound female whose mate is still in the room with them. Because at this point, Fisher's ready to kill him and tries to strangle him with his shadows. So,
And of course, this mating bond between them is also kind of like a nod in its own way. kind of how the whole like mating thing was with Akatar, where now like it's been accepted by both parties. So it's a little feral and very
Territorial.
yes.
Possessive,
Yes.
territorial.
Yes. Yes. And
Don't
Reese
touch
was
what's
the
mine.
exact same way, especially like when Feyre got pregnant and stuff like that. It was even more. But
Mm-hmm.
like it is, you do not. And we find out like
I'd rather you not be in the same
friends,
room as my
like
mate.
any part, like unless I'm dead, no part of you goes near or touches my mate, or I will
Mm-hmm.
cut it the fuck off. And he's like, well, what if she's like
Even if
hanging
it's a
from a
finger.
mountain or whatever? Like,
Yes.
don't touch her unless I'm dead. Do not touch nothing. So it's very, very feral. At this point. So no comments, no touching, no
No,
looking. No,
nothing.
no looking,
Don't
nothing.
even be in the same room as her. Don't
Don't
breathe her
breathe.
air.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-mm.
Yes. All right. So
Don't
we're
look
going
in her general direction.
to, yeah. So we kind of jump ahead some and we learn that there are 5 vampires that ruled beneath the vampire monarch. They were called, they were called
Ah,
the Lords of Midnight. So it consisted of 2 female, 2 male, and 1 who was something else. So we have Taladeus, who is the keeper of secrets, Zovina, who is the keeper of missives, Hazarax, who is the keeper of silence,
I said Algat, but
Algat is the keeper of records, and then you have Aerith, who is the keeper of even lights. So with Saris becoming queen, along with them acknowledging her that she is queen to them, she's hoping that she can stop the war and put an end to all the killing. Fisher once tried to get her to back out from becoming queen, but she knew it was the only chance they had without bloodshed. So he gives her a belt that was really a garrote, garrote, garrote.
I think so. I
See, I don't listen to the audiobook, so like
I
it's
didn't listen to
essentially
everything. I only listened to part of it, and then I went back and forth and just lined
it's
everything up.
essentially to me it's essentially like his neck shield because it's silver.
Yeah.
It has silver on it because they didn't want her. Taladeus warned them not to walk out with the God Sword because it looks bad on her part that she can't defend herself. It makes her look weak and everything. And Fisher said, I ain't having any part of that. He was taking his God Sword with him no matter what. he wasn't leaving it behind. He was already
Yeah.
on their shit list. So he gives her this belt, gives her a dagger on her thigh, I believe. So once they're inside the room that they called the Hall of Tears, Zovina was not having the fact that Saris, who was a human at the time, was the one who killed her father. And then can we talk about, this is my quote, her response. Because she stuck up for herself. So she tells them, your father was felled?
Felled.
Felled?
I know it
It's a
doesn't seem
weird
natural
word.
because when you cut down trees
Felled?
to chop for wood, you fall
They
trees.
fell.
You fell the trees. Like,
The trees fell. Just say the
wow.
trees fell.
I know. Yeah. Drop
The
them. You're
trees
dropping the fucking
fell.
trees. You're dropping the trees. You're not felling them.
Felled just something.
Drives me
Felled,
crazy.
felled. They neither one sounds right. Excuse me. Okay, anyways. He felled by his own hubris. Hubris. He was too
Hubris.
arrogant. He believed himself invincible, and she had the pleasure of showing him otherwise. A godsword will make God damn, I cannot talk tonight, so excuse me for all like the wording mistakes I'm having. A godsword will make worm food out of any of us, no matter who wields it, but regardless. I am no child. My name is Saris Fane, and I am your queen. Hands down, give her props. Sticking up for herself.
Yes.
For the badass she is. So again, going into the next chapter, Zovina still makes it known, that she does not like Saris and tries to talk Malcolm up and how he was a god for how long he's lived. Malcolm hid. Let's be honest. He hid
Yeah.
behind all of his feeders and his children. Put it for what it is. That's how he became as powerful as he was. He hid. She also showed her dislike on the fact that Talades was the one to turn her. Each lord was given a ring that Malcolm gifted them. It was their power source, and Tal's was rumored to be more powerful. So Tal was more special to Malcolm. And this is where we learn, that Tal once loved Zovina. Again, Zovina keeps going on how she doesn't want Saris as queen, and now Fisher as king consort. So then we get Aerith talking.
Mm-hmm.
So Fisher and Saris are kind of like mind talking, that Fisher was letting her know that if Aerith gets his way, everyone in Ivalia would be drained of their magic and become slaves, and this would make every continent a wasteland to the vampires to just start killing for sport and fun and feeding when they wanted. And then we have Hazarak, who is neither fae nor vampire. And according to Tal, whatever magic or power they showed to Malcolm scared him enough to allow this person to stay. I want more info on him.
Yes.
And then we have Algate, who was a witch who was cast out after meddling with dark magic. And as Saris and Fisher were like mind talking, Algate turns her head towards towards Fisher.
Yes.
And Saris notes that it was almost like she could hear their conversation, in which I believe she could, because next thing you know, Saris is having flashbacks of everything. One minute she's in with her brother, and next minute she's in bed with Fisher, and she notes that it felt like someone was rifling through her pockets. It's totally Algate fucking with her. Hands down. It's the witch messing with her. Can't tell me otherwise.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure she gave her like a smile too. Like she knew what she was doing.
Oh yeah, she was like being sly, but she wasn't like she was letting it be known.
Yeah. And of course, a Carrion moment, yet again, Carrion being Carrion, tries to smoke a cigarello, which gets Saris's attention and distracts her, so Aerith calls her out. But again, her response was perfect, because she then told them, well, isn't this supposed to be a coronation instead of children bickering back and forth? Because that's essentially what they were doing. So I love that she calls them out like that. So then Algate speaks up and states that Saris needs to drink before she's crowned, because it wasn't required and there was no law that stated that you had to do that, but she was virgin of the blood. She can choose when, this is kind of cool, like she can choose when to stop her heart to become like the undead, with her being half fae, half vampire. Algate said that if she'd be one of them, so essentially she would only be accepted if she drank the blood of the living.
Yeah.
Because it was never needed, since Malcolm was the leader, the only leader, and everybody else, they were full vampire. So they weren't half living, half dead. So Aerith suggests a female to drink from, but then moves his eyes to Fisher. Sarah said no. Fisher tells her just to do it, just to drink and swallow twice. So this gets her to agree. But when she drinks from Fisher, she made it more intimate without realizing she was making it more intimate, which causes her, which we still don't know yet, to get a new tattoo on her chest. Because when she's drinking his blood, it turns them both on, because she pretty much completed what we learned from Quicksilver that Lorith was trying to tell her about, between two people drinking each other's blood like that. especially like intimate like that. And she notes that she felt drunk. At this point, the crowd is cheering her on, telling them to crown her. And she states because she's so high on Eureka or whatever. Yeah, that's what it was.
Euphoria!
Damn it, I did the same thing you did, and I'm the one that had to tell you about it. Euphoria.
Eureka!
Yeah, but you said Eureka, I'm pretty sure.
I did. Eureka.
I was close enough.
Eureka is pretty close to Eureka, Biddy.
Same spelling, just
Yeah.
completely wrong pronunciation. It's been a night. But she states how the Hall of Tears had become beautiful all of a sudden. She's like high on ecstasy right now.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty
and
much.
like he pretty much, I don't know if he like dosed her because he's got like a lot more control than she does. Like she's just a baby.
I
But
think
he
it was.
did bite her in the first book. So she kind of felt that like ecstasy feeling and stuff during one of their little,
But she didn't get the full
romps.
extent.
But yes.
Because I think
Yeah.
it wasn't because I think it was because she wasn't the one doing it. It was him. So he's got to get the full extent compared to her. But now that
Mhm.
she's doing it, she's getting the full extent, and he just feels the effects that it has on him
But
and
it could be
understanding.
even more because they've accepted their mating bond.
That could be
So
true. That
because
could be true as well.
he was pretty hot and heavy from
But
being dosed that I
because
don't know.
he didn't, she was giving him the look, and he tells her not to because otherwise he was going to take her like right there. Um, but she wasn't supposed. I don't think she was supposed to go as deep as she did either. Like she wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to bite him as deep as she had. She kind of just went with it. Instincts took over, and yeah, that's how chapter 2 ended.
All right, so going into chapter 3, she's got her new tattoo, marking her skin, goes from one shoulder to the other, just below her collarbone. They're still, completely reeling from the euphoria of her feeding from him. Like everybody's ecstatic, they're cheering, they're like, okay, great, she's accepted it. She is one of us, considering she completed that. So now Aerith can place the diadem on her. And then we kind of cut to like Fisher. He is kind of thinking about how, things are so much quieter now that Taylena and Ishbal have like teased the Quicksilver out of him. Um,
Excuse me.
it's the whispering in his head is like so much less frantic, it's sharper, it's easier to understand. He does not feel like he's losing his fucking mind right now. Like he's just feeling so much better, like he's so much more alert, which I think is great for his peace of mind because of like the situation that Saris is in now and everything. Like he doesn't have to worry about himself on top of everything else that she's gonna go through.
I feel like
So,
he would have been fine with the Quicksilver in it if it wasn't what he also went through, being stuck in that maze for 100 and some years. I don't
oh
think
yeah,
that helped. Otherwise, I think he would have been not as, like, he thought has himself going crazy and stuff. So, like, I don't think it would have been
yeah,
as bad if he wasn't stuck in that maze.
yeah. So Aerith is, walking up the dais and everything to give her the diadem, and Fisher's on guard. That's his mate. He's got this extra found sense to protect her at all costs.
He
Like
also doesn't
said,
trust anybody.
fucking feral right now. Yes, he does
He
not
knows
trust
those
any of
people, like,
them.
so he doesn't trust anybody in that
Um,
palace. Don't
so
blame him.
Aerith, he places the diadem on her, and he's close enough that all of a sudden, he pulls out a blade. It has a handle wrapped in a leather thong, which I thought was a hilarious way to describe the hilt of like a little dagger. And Fisher notes that it must have been causing him discomfort, keeping it inside his cloak, tucked away. At first, I thought maybe it was a Quicksilver blade, and that's why like it would have caused him discomfort. I'm assuming it's like a fucking like that's not a knife. This is a knife. Like, Crocodile Dundee fucking machete
It
blade or something
probably
to cause
has a hint.
discomfort.
It probably has a hint of silver because he's got to keep it on him in case another vampire is like trying to kill him. He's got to have the
Yeah.
silver to kill them. Like,
Yeah. Because he even makes note that it's the perfect weapon for a vampire noble who's inexperienced in the art of fighting. So he moves quickly. Fisher's obviously that much
10
faster
steps.
than
10
him.
steps ahead of him.
Yep, he slams into Aerith. He flies backwards, crashes down the dais steps. He reaches over his shoulder. This is all happening so freaking fast. Grabs Nimarel's hilt, hurls her with everything he's got, and slices through Aerith's torso, slicing him in two. And Nimarel ends up in the point of like one of the little like stars, whatever's there in the middle of the dais
Oh,
on the
we're
floor and
each
stuff
one.
like
It's
that.
probably like
And
a
like,
5 point
yeah,
star for each of the
it,
lords to.
yeah. So she's like dug into one of the points, and then all of a sudden, like you just hear thunk thunk, and his body is cut in half, and he just drops, you know. Um, and as this is happening, there's three other people that start to come to Aerith's aid, but they get taken out by none other than Tao, who shows up at the right time or just happens to step in, and takes care of them. He has the ability to manipulate liquid, and so he just boiled their blood from the inside out,
That
fucking
was pretty
taking care of these
cool.
people.
That was
Yeah.
actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Um, Aerith tells Fisher that Ceres is cursed and that the gods have denounced her. But Fisher shows him that they are godbound, protected. Um, but Aerith only says that they have different gods before he finally bites the dust. So I wonder if that's going to come into play with his whole like, she's cursed, she's been denounced. Like, what gods do they worship that aren't going to
Except
like
her.
yes. Like, are they worshiping the other gods that, Zareth was like protecting them from, marking
The
them from?
Sibley,
Like,
the
is that
siblings.
like is it backwards? Yeah, is it backwards that like nobody wants his attention? Everybody wants to like worship the other gods because they think they're better, but
Mm.
is it opposite? Like he's the god of chaos, but he was painted that way when he's actually the like reasonable one. And they're the ones that are fucked up and just is it a not all is what it seems type of situation and they like the chaos and he is reasonable? Like like who do they worship? Like I need more information as to why why was that comment made? There
Right.
has to be a reason that comment was made.
Oh, and I'm sure we'll learn when she
Hmm.
learns more because she just kind of got like a quick rundown from Tal about how the politics portion works.
Yeah. And then we have another moment where she, stands up to everybody. She yells, tells everybody to stop. Like, even Fisher was like, if I didn't know who she was, like, I would just fucking listen to her. I'd follow her. Like, just the way her voice
That
was
authority.
very, yes. She announces that she's ruler of the court. She will be heard, and from this point forth, whenever they're in her presence, they will greet her on their fucking knees, and that all subjects of the blood court of Sanisroth are forbidden from harming, hindering, or killing her mate, her, or any of her friends, and from that moment on, no feeder enthralled to a high blood of the court may be used for the purpose of war, malice, or mayhem. She says, I have spoken, it is done. She's a fucking Mandalorian, people. Like, this is the way. Okay? Don't fuck that up. It is spoken. It's done. Okay. So she laid them girly balls right down on the floor in front of everybody, said, "This is what we doing now," and left it at that. Fucking loved that.
Yes.
I mean, she's gotta lay the girly dick down somehow, make everybody know that she's fucking capable of doing this, or
She's not
they're gonna
weak.
continue to come after her. Exactly.
She's not weak. She never has
Um,
been. Let's put it that way. She has never been
mhm.
weak.
Yeah. So then we kind of skip a little bit and he, Fisher's having a conversation with some of the guys. Like it's brought up how Cyrus dosed him in front of the whole Sanisrathian court. He talks about how um like they had made a big deal about it and that was like the only way that they were going to accept her was for her to accept being able to do that. They kind of couldn't believe that Fisher was able to keep his shit together, not rip her clothes off.
The case of the
And
blue balls.
yeah,
That's what they said.
not not like too much happens though. They do that is when they do talk about
Mm-hmm.
Foley and
That's what I was about to
how
say. Yep.
Hal was the reason that he had ended up the way that he was,
Mm-hmm.
that he had left, and they hope that Tal is gonna stick to his promise to keep Saris safe. And then all of a sudden, Danya rushes in saying that they need to come outside, that something is wrong. And so they go to the Darn, because there's still like war camp and everything on the
Mm-hmm.
other side. And there's 8 undead that seem
Feeders.
like feeders, but they know that they are feeders, they're undead, but they're not like the ones that they've typically like encountered. Like they notice that right off the bat because they're moving as one. They're like moving in unison, almost as if they're being controlled. And Danny asks if do we need to break the ice? They decide to wait to see how far they can get because the feeders can. They've never been able to make it halfway. Um, and it's even noted that like there's a foul odor in the air, like it's super toxic, almost like it's odorless, but you can tell that something's not right, that there's something going on. And these feeders do make it more than halfway across the bank. There's no stopping them. They like spring up, they're fucking there, like shit is on. They I can't remember which one of them initiates using magic first. I think Ren
I
does
think it was
because
Ren
Lorith is the one that does the angel's breath. So, yes, because I
with the
had
sword.
that in my notes now. Yeah. So Ren tries using magic. I can't remember what kind of magic he has.
The
Fisher's
balls.
trying to use,
He does
yes, that's it.
the light balls.
Um, Fisher tries using his shadows and they're absorbing it. Like they're feeding from them. And this is like that's when Lorith is like, I'm gonna use Angel's Breath against them. They all shout no, like no magic. They're feeding off of
Well,
us.
they could even felt like it was stated that they had felt a piece of themselves missing when
Yeah.
the feeders
Like
had
it was
absorbed it. Yeah.
yeah. But they also felt like and I think it's mentioned later on that they then feel connected to the feeders.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like there's a connection between them. Um so then Fisher draws Nemerel. He's pleading with the sword, don't use any magic, don't use any energy, just cut their heads off. Just don't use nothing. And the moment that Nemerel makes contact with the undead feeder, a thick black substance just crystallizes along the blade, almost as if it was like a frost. And in his mind, he can hear Nemerel scream. And he can't use her either, which is horrible because, like the Quicksilver has life to it and everything. Like it's God touched and stuff. So This is really fucking big. Like, there's some big shit going on right now. Um, they're fighting. They decide to set them on fire. That doesn't even fucking work at this point. Like, they're just still moving through the camp. Everything's burning. Fisher and Danya are like on fire trying to
Mm-hmm.
fucking do shit. They do get like the heads cut off. Fucking kill them. Like that kills normal feeders, like taking the whole head kills normal feeders, but these people are like zombie feeders. Like it's literally like The Walking Dead where they had like the stakes and they cut the people's heads
I
off
have a
and they
small
like
theory.
mounted them and they were like still wanting to feed off of
I
something.
feel like it's one or two things. It's either an alchemist with an alchemist's help, or, hear me out, Algate with her black magic.
Maybe. Because all we know by the end of this is that Madra's involved. So how the fuck is she turning them? Like, bitch, you're just an immortal human. You have a fae, a vampire, and an immortal human. So how the fuck are you making zombie feeders?
Yeah, so I wonder because we don't know how. We know that they all three were together, but how much are Belican and Madra dealing with the other lords and stuff? Like, how in depth with them are they?
Yes.
So it
I
makes me
need more
wonder.
background about how each of them got to their positions. Like how like we kind of got a little bit about like how Malcolm was like the first vampire, but like did we find out specifically how he became the first vampire?
Curse. There
Or
was a
was it just
curse. I think there was a curse,
so
and
then
he liked it. He liked it enough to
oh
not
yeah,
be to be
yeah.
cured.
There
He
was
wanted
something with
that
his
power.
blood. Yeah. But
He
like
wanted that
why
power and
did
stuff.
Madra and Belican end up the way that they were? Like if they're siblings. Unless they're just old enough that they teamed up. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But they're
Why
like
would they say
siblings. So
brother
how did
sister?
each of
Yeah,
them, yeah, how did they all end up on different things?
because it
Because
annoyed me that they made sure
obviously,
every sentence. Yeah, brother. Yeah, sister. Ugh.
yes, 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 yes.
It's
100%.
annoying. Annoying. We get
Um,
it.
yeah. So like Dania comes out of this. She's got no hair. Her face is so burnt that um she's like raw meat or whatever. Like it's just so horrible. And Taylena exhausts her magic trying to heal Danya. So Fisher has to kind of like sit and wait so she can recoup and everything. And he's all like, it's fine. I've been through worse. I'm gonna be okay. And Ren tells Fisher that they've got the bodies tied to a tree without their heads. They're all still alive. Um, they have them shoved in that bag. Like, I think that's fucking disgusting. And they automatically assume, like, Ren and them automatically assume, not Fisher, obviously, that Tal is the one that's controlling them because why not?
Why not?
I
Yeah.
mean, he's only been like a friend for the last however week or whatever that this has happened. Fisher defends him, saying that he doesn't have any sired, he doesn't have any thralls, and that it's not something that he would do. So then him and Ren go back and forth, and he brings up Folly again and how Fisher is always defending him and what he did to Folly and like how he just shouldn't trust him. We find out that they lost 114 of their people, which is more than like all the centuries and
To
stuff like that.
eight.
Like, and I think in one fight, like in all the centuries and stuff, that's like more people that they've lost ever.
To eight feeders. Just
to
8
8 feeders.
feeders.
Yeah. And they have fought countless battles and have never lost that many
For
people.
100 and some years.
Yeah. So they decide they're going to bury him, honor them back in college, which is great. And Lorth makes a comment that those that the feeders can't be from Evelia because nothing in their world could produce that kind of evil. Um, and so that ends chapter 4. We go into chapter 5. They're back at Amentraeth. They throw the sack down in front of Saris and everything with these heads, and Carrie and joke said it smells like their old apartment above the Mirage. And obviously Saris is like, how the fuck would you know? Like, obviously, like, you've never been in there. And Fisher tells Carrion to leave, but they go back and forth, and Fisher's like, okay, you got experience with warfare, necromancy, walking dead, blood curses. Carrion obviously is like, no. And so he tells him to get out. When Tal comes in and tells Fisher that it's probably not a good idea for Carrion to leave that room by himself because he'd probably be kidnapped and sold into slavery because, hello, he is the heir. Um, and so Fisher's like, okay, obviously it's fine. I take you back to Evelia. And um, I don't know who Flores is, but what? Somebody asked. I wonder if I was supposed to say Fisher. Somebody at this point asks Tal, please tell us this wasn't you. Obviously he agrees. He doesn't have any thralls. He doesn't have slaves. And it's beyond anything that he can do, being like the
Next in
next
line.
powerful thing, basically. Because they're decapitated, but they're still animated. And like I said, capitation kills a normal feeder. These ones are not normal because they've been decapitated, but their heads are still looking for shit.
That's why it makes me wonder if it's like Algate's like in it with her black magic.
Maybe. There's got to be something. Like, I don't know. Um, Lorth asks, like, okay, how do we kill them? Tal says he's never seen or heard anything like that before. And while that conversation is going on, Fisher's telling Saris that she's coming back to college with him. She's like, no, I gotta stay here. Like, what's gonna happen? So he's like, it's fine. He's like, I'm gonna make it seem like you're engaged in, blood fueled orgies all day and stuff. Like, at least you'll be making an effort to fit in. Like, they'll be okay with that because, there's some sick fucks. And while they're going back and forth, like they continue having their little back and forth in their mind, Carrion points out that there's something about the feeders that is interesting because they know that the typical feeders normally come from Evelia. And he points out that they're from Zilvarin. And everybody's, what? No way. How can that be?
Pretty
And,
much.
obviously he states the obvious, like, the ears are round, they're fucking human, like, they're pointed, and because they're marked on the neck behind the ear. They have, well, at least one of them, I don't know if all of them does, because I think there was male and female. But one of them has the same mark that Saris does behind her ear, the mark of sterilization that they went through at 14. I think Madra made them all go through that, where they were sterilized where they couldn't have babies. And so they put like a little X or a cross or like some little mark behind their ear so that way they can be tracked like that. And Saris even thought, okay, well, maybe it's because humans had lived here at one point, but they said that with like, if they would have been turned or something like that, a human would have died off after 5 years, maybe 10 years. They would have, like, pretty much just dropped dead. or whatever. But these ones had only been alive for a few weeks. And so Fisher comes to the conclusion that it's intentional and that Madra has been doing it. How the fuck is she turning them into vampires when she's an immortal human? Like I said, she's not Fae. She wasn't a vampire. Then all of a sudden, while he's having that thought, Cyrus is being talked to by Quicksilver again. And it's like calling to her, not really calling to her, it just knows like, oh, she can hear us. Like she knows we're here, blah blah blah. And she asks, is there a fucking pool here? And we find out that Amentreyef has always had a pool. And she says it's pretty small, but she is able to sense it. And that's how we fucking end.
Always something. So that explains how those feeders got in. How Maja was keeping track to make sure nobody came through because she didn't want anybody else being sent through her Quicksilver.
Which does make sense because they did ask, like, how the fuck, like, okay, how would they have used a pool? Like, they would have had to know to think of that place to get there. And so if she knew about the Quicksilver pool and everything and, like, opened it or whatever and gave them, like, this is what you're going to think about. So this is
Because
where you're going to go. It's
I
where they
imagine
can end up
that's
there.
how I imagine that's how Madra got there before Malcolm was killed. Like when they were all there with Fisher. I imagine that's
Yeah.
where she went to. Yeah, she's got either Algate working for her. There's another witch using dark magic now. Or could it deal? I doubt that it's something with alchemy.
See, I don't
Because that's more
know.
metals. That's more like your metals and your
Unless
different
unless
things.
Brimstone is gonna play, but I feel
Brimstone's
no, that
just
doesn't make
fire
sense either
or
because
sulfur. Brimstone is sulfur.
there would have been these types of feeders back when the dragon before they killed Omnom Shakrai, they would have had animated feeders like this.
Yeah. I think they would have got him a long time ago. I think they probably came up with these feeders since Malcolm died.
Yeah,
How
but
easy it was to
how?
kill. How easy it was to
And
kill Malcolm.
honestly, why wasn't this something that Malcolm thought of before?
Is this what Madra had in play? Can't forget, we still don't know what Madra was setting up.
Yes, we did never find that out. Her little celebration.
Yes.
Oh,
We have yet to find out
yes.
what her little celebration was for. So is this part of it? Like, I'll show you what's gonna happen if you don't follow me
Yeah, because we
type.
never did hear about that, and it had been a few weeks since that was brought up. Um,
Because it was getting set up before, as right before Carrion got taken.
yeah. So the timeline fits. The timeline fits. Because she could have decided, like, oh, my brothers are coming after me, like they did before when she closed the Quicksilver. So now I've got to set something up. But, like, what made her think of that?
Quicksilver? Can can they manipulate Quicksilver? Quicksilver will follow
No.
as long as you give it what it wants. So do they have an alchemist to communicate with the Quicksilver and manipulate it the way it needs to be manipulated? Could that be a thing? Because how are they all going through these portals without protection?
I know.
Because there's no other alchemist that they know of to make relics. So many questions. All right. But thank you for watching or listening to Chapters Over Coffee, and join us for next week's episode. And also don't forget to check us out on our other platforms. Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff.